Hey guys, welcome to Mad Scientist Barbecue. I'm Jeremy Yoder. I'm here in Texas at a fabrication shop, but I'm not going to be welding anything together. Instead, I'm testing smokers. I'm here at M&M Barbecue Company where they're making lots of smokers, as you can see behind me. There is a new smoker on the market called the Texas Smoke King. It's available for pre-sale, but I want to see how it cooks. And so we're going to be doing some testing and some cooking with that thing today. So come with me. We're going to see if it's really the Smoke King or just a pretender. So this is the Texas Smoke King made by M&M Barbecue Company. A couple quick facts. We're going to do more of a walkthrough later on, but it's a 24-inch diameter cook chamber. It's 50 inches long. So for a backyard pit, you have a fair amount of real estate to do a lot of barbecue cooking. There are some unique design elements that I want to get into a little bit later. One of the most unique about this one is it doesn't have a handle, but when you come to a fabrication shop and ask to cook on unfinished pits, that's the way it goes. This also has no wheels, but luckily we have a forklift and we can lift it using these braces here. It's all gonna be good. It's gonna cook exactly the same. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some biscuits in here. We'll get a good idea of how the heat is distributed. And then we're gonna cook some ribs because that's long enough to really get a good sense of how this thing cooks. And it's not so long that I'm gonna be here till 1 in the morning cooking brisket. So first, let's go get those biscuits. We'll put them on. We're gonna cook at 300 degrees and we're just gonna see the heat distribution. And from there, we'll cook those ribs. So we got some Brookshire's Jumbo Butter Biscuits. We're gonna put this on the grate and we're gonna cook it probably between 275 and 300. And we're gonna see how this goes. Opa! That's always so satisfying. You pop them open, pop! Got one there. The most delectable of all barbecue treats, smoked biscuits. Oh, okay.
Are you going to probe the brisket?
No.
The biscuit? No, he's putting
No.
a new RTX in there.
RFX?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a barbecue class going on right here next to me. There are like 20 pits being put together in the fab shop. There's like the shipping department. There's a lot of stuff going on, but we will cook our ribs. And we're going to test this thing out. We're going to find out what's what. So while these biscuits are cooking, let's do a quick walk through the pit. And you might think, I make and sell my own pits. Why am I doing, videos with competitive products? Well, I can't make pits for everybody. And my pit fits a niche. Everybody can't have the same pit. For me, my job doing videos on this channel is to show you the best of what's out there in barbecue. So the best equipment, the best pits, the best proteins to cook, the best techniques, the best food, the best restaurants, all of that. And so we're gonna show this thing off today and see what it can do. So we're gonna start off by going through the features. We're gonna start at the Firebox end and work toward the stack. All right, first we have the Firebox. I just spit all over the Firebox. Let's try that again. First, we have the Firebox here. It's a 20-inch diameter Firebox, which is effective because it keeps the heat contained, so it'll kind of eat through wood. But it's not insulated, so it's not going to make all the gases and smoke that go into the cook chamber nuclear hot. It's going to be gentle in terms of how it cooks. Also because of their heat management system that we'll show you later. But I want to show you this door. So this door, big, very easy to operate handle to open and close the door. And then for the intake, it's got this kind of rotary intake with wooden handles. It's super nice. You can reduce the airflow a lot if you want. You can open it wide open and you can really kind of make it do whatever you need to. This is a super cool design and I believe this is going to be available on the pre-orders for no extra charge. So they're doing a pre-sale actually right now. Put all the information in the description. The price for this pit is going to be $39.95 and you get all of the upgrades that you would see on this pit. Whereas if you wait, then the upgrades are going to cost whatever the upgrades cost. So this door is an upgrade. The pin damper system is an upgrade. Things like that. But the functionality of the pit will remain essentially unchanged. This system, I really like. The handle stays cool because it's wood. Let's move on to the cook chamber. So for the barbecue class, they're actually using 2 other examples of this. None of them have wheels. Coincidentally, it turns out you don't need wheels to make great barbecue. but none of them have wheels. One of them has a handle. We'll show you that handle in just a second. This chamber is 24 inches in diameter. It's 50 inches long, and it's really kind of an ideal size for a backyard pit. It's got a super smooth hinge design, lets you open and close it smoothly. This one, like I said, happens to be missing a handle, but let's open this up, and then we'll take a look at their bypass system. Ooh, they're already cooking along. This right here is their bypass system. It allows some of the gases to go up and over and some to come out underneath. So you have fairly even cooking all across here. I don't want to mess up this biscuit test any more than that. So we'll close this down and check back in a couple minutes, but they're looking really good. Right here, we have a tell-true thermometer. It's kind of the gold standard in the barbecue world, and it's located exactly where I like. And then we have this collector, nice and big, and then a detachable stack. So if you're trying to fit it into some space where it can't be too tall, don't worry, you can take this part of the stack off and lay it down. It's 5-inch diameter, and one of the coolest things is this pin damper system. It locks in place at various points so you can maintain consistency throughout the cook. You can make it do whatever you want. This also is one of the upgrades that you get for free if you pre-order. And one thing for you viewers to know is they aren't paying me to make this video. I requested to make this video and they accommodated me. So I should say that the owners are my friends, but they're not, giving me a commission. I'm not getting, some check that you don't know about. Well, actually, hold on. They did give me something. Let me show you guys. I was pretty happy about this. It is a cigar stand with my logo. They did give me this. I don't think it's influencing my review at all, but I got to be upfront with you guys. Pretty sweet. I think you can actually order these. Maybe. Probably. Either way, I'm glad I have mine. Anyway, I just want to give you guys an honest review so you have good information to make these decisions, whether you want to buy something that's more expensive or less expensive, bigger or smaller, located closer to you or located right here in Toole, Texas. I just want to give you guys honest information, and I'm doing my very best to do that. So hopefully I've been upfront about all that. I don't make any money on this. I did get that thing for free. I think the retail price is probably like 20 bucks, but I'm not getting paid anything from M&M to make any of this content. So I think it's about time to see how these biscuits are doing. Let's take a look. Oh, not bad. So I'm noticing it's just a little bit warmer here than it is in the middle, and then it's a little warmer on this edge than it is right in the middle, but it looks like the entire grate is going to be usable. I was expecting maybe radiant heat to be really potent here, but it's not. It's cooking pretty even. Let's close it up, wait another couple minutes, and I think we're going to be done. Yeah, I'll taste the salsa. It's made by what? Texas Ribeye King? Maybe you're going to have to call yourself the Salsa King after this. But people might think it's dancing,
Yeah.
All right.
I'll do it with you. Cheers.
Smells really good and fresh. All right. That's good. Too. Yeah. That's really good. I'm here with the Texas Ribeye King, who made some fresh salsa.
Yep.
And if you don't like spicy, it's probably the wrong salsa for you. If you do like spicy, it's going to hurt in the best kind of way. It's going to clear out those sinuses, and it's just super, super flavorful.
All it is serranos, garlic, lemon, and avocado oil.
Really, really good. I think we're probably done. Let's take a look. Look at that action. Not bad. A little warmer here, but not nuclear. Really, this bypass system, that's what they call this, the bypass system. So some of the heat comes above, some of the heat comes down below, and really mitigates that direct heat. One thing about the bypass system is it has a lot of man hours. There's a lot of fabrication that goes into doing it, and it is a phenomenal system to deal with heat management. So you have zero radiant heat from the fire because the barbecue or whatever you're cooking on here never sees the fire. And radiant heat is actually light wave. So this is gonna completely eliminate the radiant heat from the coal bed. You're still gonna get some radiant heat from the hot metal, but it's gonna be drastically reduced. So what you have is a system that's gonna cook very evenly, and you're gonna get consistent results. Also, because of how this has been set up, it doesn't inhibit airflow. So it's gonna be able to draw air super, super well. And as you can see, all of these biscuits, like these are done, the ones over here are done. These are just a little bit browner. So if we take a look at this, it's a little darker, but not burned. Whereas in a lot of pits, you're going to have a big hot spot where these will turn black. So this is all usable cooking space. I'm going to grab this one from right next to the Firebox. And this is the difference. The coolest spot, the hottest spot. All of this is still not going to burn your stuff. So in a lot of smokers, you have a part of the grate where you would put biscuits and they would turn black because they would burn. But here, it's a little darker, yes, but still usable space all throughout this. And if you were worried about the underside being burned, no, again, a little darker, definitely not burned. So very pleased with this. This tells me I can put these ribs anywhere on the grate, it'll be okay. All right, who wants breakfast? Biscuits and gravy. If anybody's watching in the UK, biscuits and gravy probably sounds gross, but I promise you it's not.
Don't hold me accountable.
I think a lot of people try to do the biscuit test and then they're thinking like the entire grate must be plus or minus 1 degree.
Yeah.
I'm like, first of all, it's impossible. If you achieved that, you would ruin the other cooking characteristics of the smoker so much.
Yep.
Yeah, but the entire grate is usable space.
Yes.
Which, like, that's what we're after.
That's what we're after. Ed.
Exactly.
And it's not.
A lot of people don't realize that ovens aren't even.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
I think the bypass system's
sorry,
working super well. But yeah. All right, I'm here with Mike Miller. If you guys don't know Mike, Mike is the owner here at M&M Barbecue Company. I have a couple questions. Hopefully you can answer since you know exactly how this thing was made. The bypass system that you do
Yes.
is totally unique to you.
Correct.
I think.
Yes.
All
Yes,
right?
it is.
I've never seen anything like it. How do you explain to customers who are like, what's the bypass system? Why do you do it? I know that there are a lot of man hours involved.
Yes.
So why is it worth it?
One of the things that Matt and I set out for was we see problems, and one of the things that we see is most of any offsets in the game usually have a hole, and that's it. They just cut a hole in it, and then they go, here you go. And what the problem was is you couldn't use a quarter of your pit, whether it was a pit this small, whether it was 1,000 gallon. So him and I were like, there's got to be a better way than just having this big, giant, massive hole and throwing wood in there and burning up half of it and have wood blockers. So we were coming up with similar designs like we do on our commercial rotisseries. We were thinking of different ways to get the fluid dynamics correct to where we know that it can flow right, that we have the stack height right, which a lot of people don't realize, and some people do realize that the stack height matters tremendously. We've done actual tests, to have a 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot stack, because sometimes it can draw too much, but that's for another thing at another time. So what we did is we knew that we wanted it to be able to go from underneath and above. So it wasn't just getting underneath, because if we had just it here, it would get the bottom too much. So what we wanted to do is alleviate some of that pressure. We create a little bit smaller hole at the bottom to be able to have a little bit more pressure come up the top, so it's getting the top of the brisket and or proteins, and then the bottom fluidly all the way across the grate. So that's what we set for. This is it took about 10 iterations by the time we finally nailed it down, and we've got it to now where we feel like we're 100% ready to rock and roll with it.
Yeah, so split airflow to get evenness across the
All
grate.
across the top.
Yeah. And for the viewers out there, how much are you paying me to do this video?
So I don't know if people understand, but
I'm waiting on the check.
he's very expensive.
Oh, geez.
The loan that I had to take out just to get him here.
Oh, man. Well, I did tell them that you gave me this, which is pretty sweet.
Yes.
You can put it in your wallet because they fold flat, but if you need a cigar holder, and this one, you like laser engraved my logo, which was sweet. And now it can just sit anywhere. Boom, it's a cigar holder. Are these for sale?
We're about to start selling them. Yes.
Okay, so if you guys want one, you can get one on their website. Super cool.
And please buy a lot of these, because again, I had to take out a second morge just to get
People
him
are going to
here.
believe that, dude. People are going to believe that.
That is, none of this is true. I'm not paying them anything.
All right, anything else that you'd want a consumer to know about the Texas Smoke King?
Yeah, so there's a couple other features that we did. Obviously, there's not a handle on here.
It's a new feature.
It's a new feature.
Exclusive.
What's really cool about this too is what you don't really see is there's actually Preston bearings here on each one of these, and there's bearings that's on your handle as well. So a lot of times, typically, I would kind of cringe when I heard it. You hear this thing just grinding as it's opening up, especially on a nicer pit.
Yeah.
We want it to be really silky smooth when it opens up. So we have bearings here, 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 and here, and then also right here on our damper, we have this system that we've never seen before.
Yeah.
We've never seen anybody do this. And again, this was all about solving problems. We want you to be able to come in and you to be able to even teach people when you do this, where you can say, hey, set it at setting 2, and it sets it in place and locks it into place. And then what we also found is if you have it on uneven ground, what can happen sometimes if these are too loose, they can start turning, and then you can never get your damper set in the right spot, you know, because I mean, everybody's got their own cooking styles. Some people are like, just run it wide open. I can tell you at M&M, we use the damper and we like to have some back pressure. So we actually do utilize this feature a ton. So this is a really cool one that we did on there. So, and then we were the first to create this bypass like this. And we did it like this because the old style was very cut and dry going right into it. And we got to where we get a little bit more of that heat away from
kind of pull the hot spot.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's exactly what we did it for.
I think I've seen a similar design from some other manufacturers, actually.
Yes, maybe a couple. I don't know who, but
anyway,
there's a couple.
The pin damper system, the thing I like the most about it is that there's zero chance it gets moved out of place without you doing it intentionally.
Correct.
Right? The wind isn't going to affect it. If it's not on even ground, that's not going to affect it. It's not going to be you open and close the cook chamber door and it kind of bounces it loose. It will remain exactly where you set it the entire time.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
So slick design. I'm just a little bummed that I didn't think of it, but great idea.
Thank you. I'm sure it'll be on more pits than we can name.
I think we'll probably see some on some other pits someday. But that's how the pit building world works.
It is.
I think.
And to be honest, I mean, if not, then it wouldn't push us to innovate. You know, so competition creates greatness and it creates people innovating. And so we're all here for it. For the love of barbecue, we're going to keep pushing.
What prevents somebody from using your bypass system?
Okay, so that we do, I believe that, I had to double check it, but I do believe the patent just got approved about 3 weeks ago. So we do have a patent on the bypass system.
So this is going to be the only pit that has that system. An M&M barbecue pit's the only pit that will ever have that.
Yeah, should.
Okay.
Yes.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Let's cook some ribs.
Let's do it, brother.
All right. So we got our 2 racks here. We scored the membranes. These are St. Louis cut. We cut off the end where it gets pretty thin. And I'm going to use 2 seasonings. On one, as our baseline is the real test of how this thing cooks, what kind of smoke flavor it puts on. We're going to go salt and pepper only. And then at the good old Brookshire's down the street, I saw this chupacabra rub. And I was like, well, they get points at least for the name. And now I want to try it. So we're going to test this out too. 2 Gringos chupacabra rub. It's chupalicious. There we got our chupacabra rub, and here, good old salt and pepper. In the words of Malcolm Reed, let's get to cooking. To get this cook set up, we're going to close the intake most of the way down. So just kind of a little crack. And then we're going to adjust the stack damper. It's a new thing. I don't know if you've heard. The stamper. Everybody's using it. Everybody's saying it. I've heard it. So the damper on the stack. The damper I'm going to use in the second notch, so mostly closed. Because what I want right now is the air inside the cook chamber to be turbulent, smoky, and gentle. And I want to start off at about 225 degrees, maybe even 200. But for the first 90 minutes or so, because that's going to lay on a lot of color and a lot of smoke flavor. At that point, we're going to start trying to render fat, and we're going to try to shrink the meat on the bones and all those kinds of things. But at this point, slow, gentle, and smoky is exactly what we need. So these ribs have been on for a little over 3 hours. I've been hanging out with the people doing the class, and they just wrap things up. But let's take a look at these. I think it's going to be time to wrap. So here we have nice color. It's starting to dry out a little bit. Tells me this is time to wrap. This fat is rendering well. So we just have to get tenderness now, and we're ready to go. As you guys can see, because of the bypass system, we have great color on the underside right here. Great color on the top. Now all we have left is to get it tender. All right, probably another hour or so. Then I think this is gonna be done. Right, so these ribs have finished up. They're nice and tender. We're gonna take them, put them on this cutting board, slice them up, and taste them. So we're gonna use the salt and pepper ribs as a good gauge of what kind of smoke flavor, what kind of fat render do we get on this smoker. And then the chupacabra ribs are just gonna be for fun. We'll taste those too. So looking at these, we've got really nice color. The fat's actually turned yellow and begun to render. You guys can see that right there. The fat's actually splitting apart. All that stuff I really like to see. So I'm not gonna be a hero. I'm gonna flip these bone side up and cut a few. Looks good, looks juicy, it's tender. You see big smoke ring on the top, big smoke ring on the bottom. My kind of rib. Salt and pepper. Like that crust, okay. Salt and pepper, that kind of bark. This is exactly the kind of rib I want to eat. Smells so good. This kind of peppery outer bark right there, the redness, the stickiness, like it's really sticky on my fingers, all that tells me this is gonna be great. The only thing that went on these ribs was salt and pepper. There was no spritz, there was nothing in the wrap. Extremely simple, and we're gonna really shake out how this thing cooks. Let's find out. All right, clean bone underneath. Smoke flavor is exactly correct. The texture is just the way I want. We have color on the bottom. It's helped render out. You guys can see a lot of people worry about the membrane being too tough, but it's not too tough at all because this cooks the membrane down. It'll prevent the bark from washing out on the bottom of briskets and stuff too. Really quite pleased. In my opinion, this is how a rib should eat. Take multiple bites, clean bone underneath, great color, stickiness, rendered fat, all that was required with salt and pepper. So this was pretty phenomenal. I really couldn't be more pleased with this. I want to try the chupacabra rub because that's where the fun comes in. That doesn't look bad. Look a little dry to you? So the color on this one isn't actually as dark as the salt and pepper only. I think it's because the rub has kind of fine powder, and so it just prevents the smoke from penetrating as much. I don't have proof that's definitive for that. Just anecdotally, it seems to be the case that that often happens. So let's cut a rib out of here. See how we did. Looks pretty good. Juicy. And one thing that's interesting for you guys to note, the top got rub, the bottom got rub, but the side, where it's actually the darkest red, no rub at all. Let's see how it tastes. Cooked just right, and it's good, but I get less smoke and less pork flavor. So the rub is really tasty. Like, I really enjoyed it. It's got a little bit of kick to it. It's really nice, but I'm kind of a simpleton when it comes to food. I want to taste salt, pepper, and smoke, along with whatever the protein is. And so while this is great, I don't think I would cook it for me. All right, so you guys saw how the rib cook went, but you're probably not super concerned with the ribs themselves. You're probably thinking more about this smoker, so I'm gonna break down my thoughts on that. But first, shout out to Grizzly Blocks for this cutting board. It looks pretty awesome. Makes me feel proud to be an American. First things first, I think that in future production models, they should include a handle to open the cook chamber door. All jokes aside, I really enjoyed cooking with this thing today. I'll tell you what I like, don't like, wish were different. Let's give you all of my thoughts. First is, I wish the Firebox were 24-inch diameter. Now, there might be some reason why it can't be. I think maybe it's a weight savings thing. It could be like a balance thing. It might be too heavy on this side. That, I couldn't tell you. I just have a preference for a larger Firebox because it's easier to maneuver things around. It can deal with larger splits. And I think it allows the gases to expand and cool a little bit before they enter the cook chamber. So it's a small gripe. But the cook chamber is pretty big. And I do like it. I think the door to the Firebox I actually like a whole lot. You can really regulate the air inflow, and those wooden handles stay cool and all that stuff. I just really like that a lot. It seems to work really well. I think in the future they might even do one of their tombstone fireboxes on these backyard pits, which would be like the one I order. Actually, I'm probably going to talk to Mike about this afterward and be like, Mike, put me on the list. I want one. I want the first one with the tombstone firebox. Put me as 001 on the list. When they do the backyard rotisseries, I'm 001 on the list. I made him promise that I get to buy the first one. But that is a small gripe. And then when it comes to the cook chamber, there's no upper rack. At the $39.95 price point, do you want an upper rack? Maybe, yeah, probably. But it's going to cook differently than the bottom rack in every smoker, no matter who builds it. So I understand the desire to put one rack in there and make it cook even from end to end. And they've done a great job with that. But I would like a top rack so I can use that, I'm heating up beans, or for whatever purpose I want. I'll know that it's going to be hotter than the bottom rack, but at least it's available to me, so I have more space to use. Then just aesthetic things like this I think are really sharp. I don't think this actually does anything, or maybe it does and I just don't know, but I think this looks really nice. The hinges that they have for the door make it feel really smooth, opening and closing it. That's really good. The stack damper with the pins, I also really like that it's completely secure in whatever setting you have. And the collector, the removable stack, all of those I think are really good features. So for this pre-sale, you get all those features at the $39.95 price point. If you wait until they're in regular production, all those upgrades are going to cost more money. But I can tell you that in my experience cooking on this thing, I would say that it kind of reigns supreme. They did call it the Smoke King. I think at that price point, $4,000, it is the king of that price point and below. It is an extremely good smoker. I think that it has the ease of use that you would see with a Franklin. It has like the cooking size of like a Goldie's pit, and it has the aesthetics that I really like. And it's got simplicity in its function. There aren't a bunch of unnecessary bells and whistles, but it just really seems to work well. I want to get one of these in my backyard. I want to cook on it a whole bunch so I can do a full review for you. But if this is something you're interested in, you can definitely get more information. I'll put all the info in the description. You can go to the website and check it all out. But so far, first impressions, top marks. Very, very good. It needs a handle and some wheels, and then this thing is in business. If you guys want to see what this is actually going to look like if you order one, it'll look a lot more like this. This handle is super smooth. I don't know if they're going to do wood. I think they're doing wood. Maybe I'll let you know in the comments. But super smooth. You can open it up. As you guys can see, this one has been cooked on a whole lot more than the one that's sitting over there. It's just well built, feels really nice. In my opinion, looks really good. So it's got the aesthetics, it's got the performance, and I think it's got a price point that's going to be more reasonable than some of its competitors in like the $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 range. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button down below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If there are other pits you want me to cook on, name them in the comments, because I want to be able to test out all kinds of different stuff and give you guys feedback, so hopefully you can make informed decisions on whatever your next pit purchase is, whether it's this one, whether it's from another company, whether it's from me, whether you don't want to get a smoker at all. I want you to be well informed so you can make good decisions and be satisfied that you got exactly what you were looking for. So thank you guys. If you want to follow me on other social media, you can follow me on all of them at Mad Scientist Barbecue. I'll see you next time.
Let's go lefty. Try it.
There was a quarterback who played for the University of Kentucky, Jared Lorenzen. They called him the Hefty Lefty because he was the size of an offensive lineman.
Oh my gosh, the hefty lefty.
The Hefty Lefty. Okay.
That passes the look test. I'll tell you that. That looks amazing, dude.
You know, if I didn't know any better, I think you know how to build pits.
Yeah, if I didn't know any better, I think you know how to cook. That looks wonderful, dude. For real.
Just salt and pepper.
Wow. That is tender as it gets. That might be the worst rib I've ever had in my life. Completely. No, that's amazing, dude.
Well, what I like the most about how this thing cooked is it rendered this fat.
It did.
Yeah. And I'm like, it's good. It's sticky. Like, your hands will be sticky. And I'm like, that's good, man.
Like, for real, like the pool and everything is like damn near perfect.
I think those are a little over, but but in terms of flavor, in terms of the color, the flavor, like just how it cooked,
man,
I was quite pleased. Quite pleased.
That's good. That's good for real. That's good. Not even trying to be biased. He had to pay me for that, so I'm getting a little bit of that.
There you go. Yeah. All right, good.